boys and girls, it's me, and I'm back. It's been a little while. I hope you enjoyed the swap meet video from last weekend. So I'm here, and we're here to actually start doing the surgery on the Trans-oceanic, so I figure it'd be a good time to get that started. Now, a couple of things before we get going. I guess you see that I have my Zenith shirt on here today. And I actually got a couple of these from Miss RW got them for me for Christmas. So I figured it'd be appropriate to wear one today since we're going to be working on Trans-oceanic. But when she ordered them, she said she had spoken to Alan Jesperson of Great Northern Antiques. He's up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and he's got a shop up there. And he's a big Zenith guy. So if you happen to be in the Minneapolis area, you might want to stop by his place. Or you can go to his website, and it's GN, I'll put it up while I'm talking, it's GN4radios.com. So you can go to his website. He does sell these shirts. I didn't see any on the website when I checked it, but he does carry them. So my lovely wife got me this one, and she also got me the one with the picture of me, some of you may have seen before, of the shutter dial, like the shutter dial, 9-tube shutter dial I have up in my living room. So and while I'm on the subject of Minnesota, I want to just give a quick shout out to Larry WD0AKX. I'm hoping you're feeling better, Larry, and hope to see some more videos from you soon. So I hope all is well with you. So anyway, let's get started. Yes, boys and girls, here it is. This is the radio that we picked up, and we're going to be on a low budget restoration. It's not even going to be a restoration. What we're going to do is refurbish this thing. We're going to make it play, and we're going to try to make it look as nice as we could possibly do it. And we're going to do it on a low budget. So let's get started. Okay, so here we go. For starters, what we're going to want to do is you're going to need a container or somewhere where we're going to be putting knobs and screws and stuff like that on there. It's especially important now because the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the chassis out from the box, the wooden box. So my choice is going to be this empty can of Sanka coffee. Now, if you're unfamiliar with these radios, if you've never taken one of these things really apart before, I strongly suggest maybe having like a small box, maybe where somewhere you could actually lay the parts inside the box and label everything up so you know where, for example, what screw goes where and why. I'm not trying to say this to brag, but I've done enough of these radios to know what screw goes where and why. So everything I'm going to take off is going to be in this can. So before you even think about doing anything, make sure you get some kind of a container or box, especially a box that's something you can label up your parts. So when we go to put everything back together, there won't be any issues. You won't lose anything, and everything will be together, and you'll know where it goes. Alright, so now with that being said, there's a couple of things you have to do. Now, this particular radio, it's a 600 series, and basically we have this headphone jack here in the front. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to remove this headphone jack right here, and also there's two screws here for the dial light control. Oh my god, this thing don't even slide back. Wow. So anyway, these two screws are going to have to come out that holds the dial light control in, and there's a nut and a washer for the headphone jack. Along with these two knobs, that's going to have to come off, so let's do that first. Okay, so that I only took a few minutes. So I've removed these two knobs, I've removed the nut and washer from the headphone jack, and I've taken the two screws out of the dial light control. Now, if you have an L600 radio, that model will not have a headphone jack here, but you'll still need to remove these two dial light screws. If you have a H500 or G500 radio, the only thing you'll have to worry about are the knobs. You won't have these in the front. So I just wanted to point that out. Now, when you get to this point, there's a couple things you can do. You can either take this bezel off the front and then remove the chassis out through the front, or there's some pieces that will be needed to be taken off the back and take the chassis out the back of the box. Either way, we're going to have to spin this around anyway, and there's a few more things we have to take off before we decide to take it out through the front or through the back. So what we'll do is, let me spin this around, and then we'll come back and well, actually, you know what, let me do this first then, while we're here. Let me take these screws out, and we'll take the front bezel out. There's 4 screws up on top here, and 3 on the bottom. Now, when you take these out, the 4 that are on top, the length of the screw is going to be a little bit longer than the 3 on the bottom. So that's just something you might want to know when we go to actually put this back together. So let's do that first. Alrighty. 3 screws out from the bottom, 4 screws out through the top. So now what will happen is we can actually remove the bezel from the box. And you might want to keep an eye on these buttons. And these are the band switch buttons, which actually is changed where you actually change your bands out front here. So when I'm just going to take this, try to tilt it a little bit forward like that. It'll come forward, and then try to pick it up. Just wiggle it a little bit. Now immediately you see the switch kind of fell out of here, and the headphone jack I just kind of stuck with my finger in it. It fell out, and there you go. That just came out. All right, so there's the bezel. And look what we got here. Holy smoke. This is the dial light, which actually is supposed to go behind the radio. And this is really, really, really rusty. So that should be interesting later on in the experience here. So anyway, here's the chassis. I can't even turn the tuner. Oh boy, is this a real POS radio. But we're gonna revive it. So anyway, so this is what's next. Now we're gonna have to go on behind the radio and do some stuff. So we'll do that now. And now that I'm looking at this radio, I hope I didn't just bite off more than I can chew, because this thing's got an awful lot of rust on here. Now the fellow I bought this from had told me that the 58-1 ballast tube is missing, and this is the socket for it right here. Let me put a flashlight on it, you know, my Harbor Freight special. There it is, and look how much rust is around that thing. That's pretty ugly. You can even see, look at this, is the actual filter cap right here. It's a lot of water damage in here, it looks like. So it may work, it may not work. I don't know if it's going to be worthwhile or not, because I can't even spin the tuner. That's even rusted solid. So we're going to take a whack at it anyway, and see if we can get this thing going. Worst case scenario, I'm going to either find another chassis or just start on another radio, because I didn't really pay a whole lot for this one. So let's see what happens. Well, boys and girls, hate to say this, but I think your old pal Radio Wild didn't pick out the best chassis to do this on. I found a number of problems going on here. The wax around the oscillator coil, they just look terrible. There's a lot of water damage in the radio. I don't know how well you can see it with this camera picture. I've never seen anything this bad. Apparently the radio must have been, I don't know, maybe been left outdoors for a length of time. The issues are as follows. These two, this is the tone control knobs up here, where I have my fingers. I can't even move them. They're just fused solid. I've got the tuner here, where you actually tune the radio. I was actually able to free up the bread slicer, but this piece, which actually turns the tuner to move the bread slicer, this is fused solid. I tried to hit it inside there where the light isn't too good, but here, let me see if I can get it. Here, now you can see it right in here. Oh, I shouldn't be using my finger because there's a certain individual that hates it when I use my finger. So I will get, there we go. You see it? Right here. Rusted, solid. I sprayed some WD-40 on there and just didn't want to move. Oh, and one other thing. This is the switch that if you plug the 90-degree angle plug into here, this will actually swing around and it's spring loaded. Well, this is fused as well. So it's okay in the respect that I didn't pay a lot for the radio, but I feel bad that now I have to kind of delay this. I really wanted to do this with you folks. So I guess what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to find a better example. Either I can buy one on the cheap, or maybe one of you folks want, if you've got one that doesn't work that you'd like to see work, you want to donate it, or if you want it to be fixed, maybe just for the price of whatever parts I put in here and do on the restoration. I want to do a miniature one because the Lockle tube ones are they can be crazy and they can get involved. So anything G500, H500, or any of the 600 series tube radios. So that's it. And then sorry about that, but hey, I used to say, sometimes you can't. You gotta keep trying to fix the radios up unless they're junk, and I found junk. This is junk. I didn't pay a lot for the radio, but it'll be a good parts radio. So, nevertheless, it's not a crash and burn situation. There's a lot of good usable parts on here. So, anyway, sorry about that, and I'll see if I can do to find one as soon as I can, or maybe you have one that you'd like to have done. So, anyway, take care. Boy!